teacher asked us to think about a project in the buffer zone in Nicosia after the unification of the north part and the south part of Cyprus. And when we discovered the subject, this idea, we said, okay, it's really interesting. But first, before thinking about a structure and a building, we would love, and we're gonna try to understand the situation and what is already here, what's already happened in the everyday life, and what's the complexity of Cyprus in the big scale, international relation, in the national relation, but even in the small scale, on the ground, what's happened on the daily life.
And how people experience it.
Okay. So what the relation of the people with the buffer zone, with the other citizen of the island, between south people, between north and south people, everything, and that's why we decided to make like a trip in Cyprus.
There were some ideas that we should. My idea was to rehabilitate inside the occupied area of Cyprus, to rehabilitate Kyrenia, starting with 5 or 10 people, and then 100 people, and then 1,000 people, etc. The starting place could be Kormakidis, which is, let me bring him up. Yeah, Kormakidis. Kormakidis is this one here. You see, this is more or less the buffer zone. Yeah. When we were discussing about the buffer zone, you see there are some considerable areas that you can see as buffer zones. Yeah. In this area there are abandoned villages that can be rehabilitated. Yeah. But my opinion is that, first of all, Kyrenia has gotten a judgment from Titina Loizidou versus Turkey, where it's Titina Loizidou versus Turkey. That's a very famous case against Turkey by an inhabitant of Kyrenia, and she won the case, and they should submit her property back to her, and Turkey has already paid 1.2 million sterling. Wow.
But now it's a restaurant again.
Now it is, they try to make it a restaurant. They have given it, the previous mayor of Kyrenia was, I could communicate with him, and he wouldn't let it go. He would keep it there, and it was in a bad condition, but it was kept there waiting for the legal owner, for Titina. I spoke more than 3 or 4 times with Titina, kneeling and praying for her. Go back, please. I brought Turkish Cypriot Kyrenians from Kyrenia here, and they met her, and they hugged her and kissed her and said, come with us. But logically, she is afraid to go alone. If others go with her, she would have gone. So my first suggestion in 2012 was to rehabilitate her house. In fact, to be strictly precise, the house of her grandfather, Spiros Karalambidis. And that house is a considerably big house. They are trying to convert it, but the previous mayor of Kyrenia, the so-called mayor, was stopping it, and it was intact and waiting for her to go back. Now, they had local elections, unfortunately, a year ago, and a new mayor was elected, and he immediately handed it over to a chain of restaurants from Adana, Turkey, mainland Turkey, to convert to a restaurant. And this big chain with a lot of money immediately started renovating the house. And now it's renovated, but we immediately reacted. We spoke to Mr. Akinji, to the wife of Mr. Akinji, to others. We made problems, and the whole thing has frozen there. It's not working yet as a restaurant, as far as I know.
But it has some label.
Yes, it has a signpost there saying kebab, blah, blah, blah. What you're trying to do, it complies with another idea of Professor Kostas Kostandino from the Department of Sociology, Law and Politics and Sociology of the University of Cyprus, Kostas Kostandino. And he was following me into Kyrenia with another project, because we are running a project called Kyrenias Nostos, which means we have to recreate the Kyrenians that we are losing very quickly. We are losing about 14, shall I say, indigenous Kyrenians. Kyrenians that they were 5 years old and above in 74. They die, this group of people.
Demographics changes.
Yes, they die 14 per week. So we have to create new Kyrenians. But how? We have to take young kids into Kyrenia and teach them, this is your house, that is your brother's house, this is your church, this is the cemetery where your grandfather is buried. And we do this repeatedly.
But they have to feel it, not just learn it.
Sorry?
They have to feel it.
Yes, they start slowly, they feel it. And
by experiencing it.
And you know, they are youngsters, they play around, and one pushes the other into the sea, and then when they come back, they have stories to tell. You remember we went there and I pushed you into the sea and we did that, and they are connected slowly, they are connecting with the place and the people and the beauty of the place. Yeah. So they do like this. So slowly, we are trying to recreate their interest to rehabilitate there. Now, Professor Costandino said, what you are trying to do, what you are instigating is very difficult. But go ahead, it's good. My suggestion is to rehabilitate first the buffer zone. Let us start from villages that are completely ruined and uninhabited. Between Katopyrgos and Nicosia there are a few. Yeah. Petra, for example. Yes, there are 3 or 4 villages completely abandoned, ruined. And there we can work so we get the population back together.
Which population could be interested to go in this kind of...
Now, nobody, now.
So
but even in Kyrenia, if Turkey comes and says, look, your house is empty, come. And I would say, how can I come? At 12:30 I have an appointment, I cannot come. And tomorrow I have to be in Paphos, and I have to take my grandchildren to school. And there is a series of commitments that will delay my rehabilitation of Kyrenia. Now, by saying, no, I want everything now, that cannot be done. And even if they give me the choice to do it, I will not be able to do it. It will take time. Because in my house, in Kyrenia, there are Turkish Cypriots from Limassol. Now, in their house in Limassol, there is another refugee from Morphu. And in his house in Morphu, there is somebody else. So, this complicated issue of rehabilitating, it had to be, and it's not yet, dealt with by the government. So, okay, they are the Turkey is infringing every possible legislation existing in the world. We know this. We know this. But we are not perfect. We have not done our duty. And what you're doing is a tiny little part of architecture and how can architecture help the situation.